Hi everyone, it's Barbara and welcome back to my channel. I am very excited today to be sharing with you some Dollar Tree Valentine's Decor DIYs, so let's go ahead and get started on our first project. I am using one of these foam hearts. These come in a package from Dollar Tree. They come in red, pink, and purple. And I did not want mine to be as big as they come in the package, so I did fold that over and took a pair of scissors and trimmed that down until I got the shape that I was looking for. Then I took some of my Waverly White chalk paint and I gave this foam heart 2 thin coats of paint, allowing it to dry in between coats. And I did make sure that I got the outside edges of the heart as well. Now it will crinkle up just a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to fix that later on in this project. I'm going to set that to the side for right now, and I'm going to be using one of these 8x10 picture frames from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of the inserts, including the glass. And I'm going to paint the frame itself in my chalkboard black craft paint. I picked this up at Dollar General. And I do give this entire piece 1 coat of that black chalk paint. And while that is drying, I'm going to take some of this Buffalo Check scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and then I'm going to be using my Cricut paper cutting tool. Now you could obviously use some scissors, but I cannot cut the straightest line with scissors, so I do like using my paper cutter. And I'm using that paper insert that came in the picture frame as a guide to cut my paper down to size. Then I'm going to be attaching this scrapbook paper to the actual glass, and I'm going to be using some matte Mod Podge. And I just made sure that I put a nice even coat. Now I originally poured some out and I poured way too much, so I do end up taking some of that back off and putting it back into the bottle. But you just want to make sure you get a nice even coat all the way across the glass. Then I'll just put my paper right down on top of the glass and then spread that out nice and smooth, making sure there's no wrinkles or air bubbles. Then I'm going to line up the foam heart where I think that it will look nice, and then I'm going to take my Mod Podge and apply it to the back of the heart, and then I can place that right on top of the scrapbook paper. And it's okay if you get some Mod Podge on the scrapbook paper because we are going to go over this entire piece. Once I lay the heart down, I really emphasized on those outside edges where they curled up, and it sealed very nicely. Then I'm going to be using some of these letter stickers. These came from Dollar General. I think they're a couple of dollars a pack. And I went ahead and cut out the letters to spell the word love, just so that I could line those up to see where I wanted to place them before I peeled them off and stuck them down. So these do stick very nicely on there. But once I get mine on there, I will go over that with some Mod Podge just to make it look less like stickers and more like ink or maybe like some vinyl. It just makes it look less like stickers, if that makes any sense. And since I'm going over top of that with this matte Mod Podge, I do go ahead and go over the entire piece so that it'll be all one uniform finish in that matte finish. And then you're going to want to let this set to the side and dry for at least 20 minutes probably to let that glue set up and dry before you reinsert it back into the frame. So then it's just a matter of popping it back into the frame and putting the back on. And you guys, I did not paint the back of the frame, so I do go in later and paint the back of that. I don't know how I missed that. And then this little project is finished, and I think it is so pretty. It's so farmhouse. I love how it turned out, and I hope you like it as well. Let me know what you think of project number 1. If this is your first time visiting my channel and you are enjoying today's DIYs, I would love you to click that subscribe button and the notification bell below this video. And I would also love for you to visit me on Instagram at Country Lily Decor. For project number 2, I will be using this heart-shaped wire wreath form from Dollar Tree, as well as some of Dollar Tree's floral wire. I am also using some boxwood greenery from Hobby Lobby. You can find boxwoods at Walmart, but I like these particular ones from Hobby Lobby because they have these nice long flowing branches. And I'm going to be using 2 bundles, and I do cut those off of the bundles. I'm just going to wrap my floral wire around the center part of the branch, and I'm going to attach the first one to the outside of the wire wreath form. And then I just like to wrap it around the branch twice and then pull it very tightly and then twist that into place and then cut that extra wire off. And then if you have a little piece that's dangling at the top, you can attach that with the wire as well. For the next piece, I'm going to overlap it with the first piece and attach it to the second wire in this wreath form. So they're each going to be overlapping each other, going from the outside to the inside of the wire wreath form. I hope that makes sense. So as you can see, the first one I went on the outside of the wreath form, the second one on the inside, and on the third one, I'm going to do that on the outside. I continued until I got to almost to the top, and then I started back down at the bottom and worked my way around the top on the other side. When I got to the top, I took one of the branches and just split that apart, just pulling it out to the sides. And I'm going to attach that right there in the center of the heart with the same floral wire. And then I'm going to take two little pieces, like two little extra pieces that I had left over. And I'm just going to attach those together with some wire and then attach that right there to fill in that gap right there at the top. Now that the greenery is in place, I'm going to take some of these gorgeous, very dark red berries from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using 2 bundles of those, and I'm going to cut each of the berry bundles off of this pick, and I'm going to attach those using hot glue directly to the wire wreath form. Now these bundles do bend a little bit, so they give you a little bit of leeway, and you just have to play around with it to be able to figure out how you want it to lay inside that first ring on that wire wreath form. And then I'm just going to attach these using hot glue, and I've also pushed all the branches back so that it has a nice clear path to be able to attach these into that center part of this wreath. I've done one side, and then I'll go back up to the top and work my way from the top down to the bottom. And then if you have any little spaces that need to be filled in, you can just cut those berries off and hot glue those directly into those spaces to make it nice and full. Then you can fluff out all your branches and get them nice and filled in and fluffy, and this wreath is finished. And I think it turned out so gorgeous. I love project number 2, and I hope you do as well. Today I'm participating in a Valentine's Day hop, which is hosted by Nadia with DIY with Nadia. I will have the next person's video in the hop as well as Nadia's video in my description box below. To be entered to win for the $60 Amazon gift card, all you have to do is watch each person's video and leave a comment. Good luck, you guys! For project number 3, I'm going to be using some of Dollar Tree's tumbling tower pieces. I'm also going to be using a square so that I can hot glue these end to end and keep them as straight as possible. I'm going to glue a row of 7, and then I do go in and make sure I wipe any of that excess glue off so that when I get ready to paint it, I don't have clumps of glue on there. And I'm going to create 2 rows of 7, and then I'm also going to create 2 rows of 6 in the same way, gluing these end to end. So these are more of the wider pieces facing down. It has like a narrow side and a wide side. So now that I have 2 rows of 7 and 2 rows of 6, I'm going to take 4 of the tumbling tower pieces as well as 1 of the wood cubes from Dollar Tree. These come in a package. And I'm going to hot glue a tumbling tower piece to each side of the wood cube with that wide part facing down. So this will create an X, and it's going to have a little bit of height from that wood cube right there in the center. And I'm going to create 5 of these. Then I'm going to take some of these wood cutouts from Dollar Tree. They have 2 hearts in this pack. So if you want to create 5, you'll need 3 packs. I only had 2 packs, so I'm only going to create 4 of the hearts. I'm just going to hot glue the tumbling tower piece to the back part of the heart, and I'm going to do that for all 4 of them. That's going to give it a little bit of height. So once you're finished, you'll have 5 of the X's and either 4 or 5 of the hearts, depending upon if you have 3 packages of those. Now I'm taking the set of 7 and laying that at the bottom, and then I'm going to attach the set of 6 to the end of that. And again, I'm using my square to make sure I keep everything straight. Once that glue has set, I'm going to attach the other set of 6 on the opposite side. And then I can go in and attach that set of 7 at the top. So your top and bottom will be the set of 7, and your 2 sides will be the set of 6. And again, I'm just attaching that using some hot glue and making sure that I try to keep everything as square and straight as possible. And you'll just hold that in place until that glue sets up. Then I'm going to take some foam board from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to set my frame on top of that and trace the inside of this frame. Then I'm going to cut that out with a box cutter, or you can use an X-Acto knife, or you could use scissors. I just find that I get a straighter cut if I use a utility knife. Once I have that cut out, I can then just set my frame right on top of the foam board, and I'm not going to attach it just yet. Before I attach it, and I will be doing that on the back, I'm going to use some of these wooden dowels. These come from Walmart in a pack. They're assorted, and they have some of the square dowels in there. So I'm using 2 of the, well, there are 4 of them, but 2 are slightly thinner than the other 2. So the thicker 2, I'm going to go ahead and measure out 4 inches from each corner at the bottom, and then 4 inches from each corner at the top. And then I'll take my measurement, the lengthwise, and cut those 2 dowels down. So these are the thicker of the 4 dowels, and I'm just using my handsaw to cut those down. And once I get those cut down, I do go in with some sandpaper and smooth out the ends that I just cut. Then I'm going to be attaching those where I already marked the 4 inches off of the corner, and I'm just going to use some hot glue on each end to attach that to the frame. And then I will do that for the other one as well. And you want to just make sure that you try to keep it as straight as possible. Then to create the cross pieces, I am going to measure 3 3/4 inch from each corner on each side. And then I'm going to measure the, I'm also going to mark the 3 3/4 inches on those center pieces so that I will know where to place the smaller square dowels when I get ready to glue those down. Once you have all your measurements taken, you can measure in between to make sure it is still 4 inches, just like we had measured to begin with. So you'll have 4 inches on the 2 outside edges. The center piece will not be 4 inches because it's a little bit different. And I'm going to cut those down to 4-inch pieces. So I'm going to cut 4 of the 4-inch pieces, and then I can hot glue those and place those right there where my marks are already made. And I'm just going, now the middle piece is, like I said, slightly wider, so it is a little less than 4 1/4 inch. So you're going to need to cut 2 of those down at that size. So I did have to use an extra dowel of the same size out of that pack because what I had left over was not long enough to create an extra. Well, I only had enough to make the one in the middle, so I had to use another one to get the other one in the middle. But anyways, I'm just going to hot glue those down where the marks are. Again, trying to make sure that I keep those straight. And this is going to create 9 squares for our tic-tac-toe board. So once you get all of these glued in place, I'm going to flip that over and then I can put some glue on the outside edges to secure my foam board in. So I just went around the outside part of that with my hot glue just to give it a little bit more stability. Now, this is super cute and you can leave it just the way it is, but I am going to paint my piece. And I think this is so darling. I love the way they have a little bit of height on these X's and the hearts. I'm going to paint each one of my X's with my black chalkboard craft paint. I purchased this from Dollar General. And then I'm going to paint each one of the hearts with my Waverly white chalk paint. And I do paint the entire pieces, the front and the back of those. For the tic-tac-toe board itself, I'm going to use my favorite gray chalk paint, which is Deco Art Americana Chalky Finish Paint, and I will have that linked in my description box below if you're interested, as well as I have that linked in my Amazon store, which is in my description box. I painted the entire piece except for the bottom. I didn't paint the bottom. And I only used one coat because I am going to use some Waverly white chalk paint and a chip brush to distress this. So I do distress the outside edges as well as all of those cross pieces and then each part of the board. And this gave it a nice gray weathered wood look. So once that is dry and you've already painted your X's and hearts, see, I have those a nice crisp white and that beautiful black chalk paint, your tic-tac-toe board is complete. And I love the way that they set up with a little bit of height on there, and I just love how this turned out. Let me know what you think of this tic-tac-toe board. If you guys have a favorite, I would love to know. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget about the $60 Amazon gift card. In order to be eligible to enter, all you have to do is watch everybody's video in this hop and leave a comment. Good luck, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.